Good morning. Welcome to the First Unitarian Church of Chicago, in person and at home. I'm Dave Messner. I'm your minister, and I'm honored to lead you in worship today along with this esteemed team, Adam Odell and Liz Kreslin, and our wonderful music squad. First Unitarian Church has been a home for progressive religion in Chicago and beyond since 1836. The church sits on the western shore of Lake Michigan, south of the Chicago River. We honor, we hope, we strive to honor the indigenous peoples for whom these are unceded ancestral homelands, as well as the diverse and vibrant indigenous American communities who make their home here in Chicago today. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, a community of children, youth, and adults. We are a people of many beliefs, many traditions, bound not by some specific laundry list of things we believe or attest to, but deeper values that we share, and the mission to grow our souls and heal the world. Whether you just stepped into the church for the first time or for the 1000th time, you are welcome here. Whether you believe in God some of the time, all the time, or none of the time, you are welcome here. No matter your race, who you love, how much money you do or don't have, who you voted for, what you're getting for Christmas. The list goes on and on. My friends, you are welcome here. It's a gift to be together on this day. A few announcements for today. I'm going to invite Linda Cherney is going to come up sort of near me. She wanted to make an announcement too, so this is the moment. We have our date. We volunteer about monthly. We show up and run the house over at La Tiendita, which just means little store. It's the little free store over on South Michigan, other side of the park. Really exciting place to make sure all of our neighbors have coats and housewares and new shoes. And on Monday, we're going to be volunteering from 4 to 6. There's space for 10 of us because we're going to be working downstairs in the store, which has separate departments, of course, and upstairs in the food pantry. And if you haven't done either of those things, I recommend it to you. Tim, fabulous Tim, it's from
4 to 6.
What did he say?
What time?
It's from 4 to 6 on Monday. Thank you so much. And he's going to pass around the sign-up sheet because nothing like closing the deal while you're thinking about it. I also want to say one of the exciting things about this setting, it's at the Coppin Community Center in partnership with Coppin AME Church, which is filled with wonderful people. It's a really nice setting if you had a young person you wanted to bring to volunteer with you. It's a really all-age friendly sort of place, including working the kids' room and helping moms pick out shoes and baby carriages and all that sort of stuff. So it's good fun. I'd love to get 10 people, and it's a nice new experience, and we're building the squad of people who can volunteer there. We raised 2 months worth of rent, so this is still in our 2 months we're paying the rent on the place. So I take my invitation to show up there. Linda, you can come up here with me. This week, on Wednesday, yes? Wednesday is our Open Life Circle, and this is our kind of open covenant group each month in which we come together in a circle, do some sharing about our lives, do some reflection on our monthly worship theme, and build some relationships together. It is a chance to go deeper. We're doing it Wednesday night, 6 p.m. in Chris Moore Parlor, and you can just come, or I'll probably send out a little sign-up email off the Breeze system so you can RSVP there. And that's a great chance to explore maybe what you hear in the sermon today, and we'll go deeper and connect it to our own lives. Please take the invitation to make space on Wednesday nights to join us. With that, I'm going to turn it over to Linda for an after-church plug. Oh, one more thing I forgot. Next week is our Christmas gifts. And the Christmas gift plan this year is that you wrap a book that you have loved. And so it can actually be fingered, dog-eared, and well-loved. And you wrap it, put your name on the card, and bring it. Either fiction, nonfiction, or children's. And you can give a book, and then you'll take a different book. And you'll see whose book you got, so you can talk to them in the new year about what they loved. Anyway, people of the book. With that, let me give it to Linda here.
So I just want to say that I went by mistake to La Tendita on Monday. It's really fun. I'm going to go again this Monday. So on Thursday from 5:30 to 7, we will have the Engaged Buddhism group, which is a meditation group, and it's 5:30 to 7. And I'm going to do a little intro. I hope Anita and I don't know if Scotty's here, but would join us, and you're all invited, and it's in the youth clubhouse. So that's right following church. You could get your coffee and come. It'll just be like 15 minutes, a little intro to mindfulness and what we do in that group. Okay? Hope you'll join us.
And if we don't know how to get to this clubhouse you speak of, how will we do that?
Well, the line's around. What is it next to?
Linda will take you from Chris Moore Parlor to the clubhouse. She'll wave her hand, and we'll get you there. It's a wonderful practice group that Linda has led this year, and I encourage you to add it to your portfolio. So it's good to be together today. Let us turn now to the lighting of our chalice. Liz will be our chalice lighter, and I invite you all to join me as we read our covenant. Love is the spirit of this church, and service its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
Please rise and bow your spirit for our opening song, Will You Seek in Far Off Places? I will sing a line, and then you can sing it back. The section leaders will join you on the response. Will you seek in far off places? Will you seek in far off places? Surely you come home at last. Surely you come home at last. In familiar forms and faces. In familiar forms and faces. Things best known you find the best. Things best known you find the best. Joy and peace are in this hour. Joy and peace are in this hour. Here not in another place. Here not in another place. Here in this beloved flower. Here in this beloved flower. Now in this beloved face. Now in this beloved face. Thank you. You may be seated and our worship will continue.
I call us to worship this morning with the words of my colleague Carl Sieber. Let there be joy in our coming together this morning. Let there be truth heard in the words we speak and the songs we sing. Let there be help and healing for our disharmony and despair. Let there be silence for the voice within us and beyond us. Let there be joy on this day in our coming together.
Our centering hymn this morning is Meditation on Breathing. You may remain seated for this. The section leaders will be coming forward. If you would like to look in the hymnal, you may, but there are 3 parts. There's a drone, so if you are not big on singing, but you'd like to get going, it's just the same note with the same couple words, breathe in, breathe out. Then there will be a melody and a descant. You may join the section leaders and I on whichever part you so choose as it goes.
Breathe in. have a story for us today. It's really a story for all of us in the world. So I invite, if you feel like you want to get a closer look on it, you could come up in the front row. If you feel like you're going to want to be in the front row to dismiss to class after, then you can do that. But come on up, get a better look if you want to. Today I have the story of Babushka and the Three Kings. So a long time ago in a far-off land, there was a cold night. And in that cold night, there was a little hut, and in that little hut, there was a babushka sweeping the floor. A babushka is a grandmother, a Russian grandmother probably. And babushka had her fire going that night because it was very cold out. And the fire in her wood stove was so cozy. It was the center of her world that day. So she was sweeping she loved her little hut. Her hut was very small, it was very, very simple, but in her many years of life, she had learned that she did not need much to get along and be happy. So she didn't have much in her hut, but she had everything that she needed, and she loved it, and she worked very hard to keep it very clean and tidy. And on this night, as she was sweeping, something happened. She heard trumpets. Oh. What is that? And she went to the window and she looked out, peered out the window to see what this was all about. And there was a long procession, a very grand procession of many horses and many men. And in the front, there were very grand men, 3 men with long white beards and the finest clothes and the most regal robes and hats that Babushka had ever seen. She had never seen anything like this. And they came up to Babushka's door and they knocked on her door. Babushka went to the door. She opened the door, but she was very surprised. She did not know what to say. She thought to herself, who could these grand men be who've come to my door? And as if to answer the question in her mind, one of the men said to her, we are traveling. We have come very far tonight, and we have very far to go. We are seeking a baby who's been born, and we're bringing him gifts. And Babushka looked, and the gifts looked very fine. She saw one of them had gold. And she thought, and Babushka was still puzzled. And the man said, would you join us? And Babushka thought, why me? And so she didn't know what to say, but she felt very, very cold standing there by the door. And so she said, well, morning is wiser than evening. It's so dark and cold out right now. Why don't you all come in? I've not yet finished my day's work, so come in to my house, and I will make you some tea, and we'll set out in the morning. And the man said, no, we have to be on our way. We have very far to go, and we were just stopping by on our way. And so they left, and Babushka closed the door, and she went over, she finished her sweeping, and once she finished, she sat down at her table by the fire. And as she was sitting there, the warmth of the fire warmed her body, and the warmth came into her body and into her heart, and she thought to herself, those men were very grand, and they brought very grand gifts. This must be a very special child that they are going to see. I should go with them, she said. And she got up slowly, and she looked around her house. She gathered up all the warmest sweaters and cloaks and scarves and shawls that she could find, and a hat. She put on a hat. And she gathered up she didn't keep much in her house, but she always kept treats for visitors. She always kept a good stock of cookies and different baked goods and little toys for the children. And so she went to her stash and she packed up some of these little gifts, simple gifts, but little nice things for her visitors. She packed those up in her bag, figuring she might need them, and she set out into the cold. And she walked around asking, did you see those men who went by? Did you see that grand procession? And everybody who she asked said no, or either some of them said, no, I didn't see it. And many of them said, oh, they're long gone. That was like a while ago. They're gone. And Babushka kept looking into the night, but each person who she asked, she gave them a treat because she appreciated their connecting with her and their sharing with her the information. So Babushka kept looking on her quest, and they say that every year she goes back out to look for that procession and to keep seeking for those grand men who she met. And along the way, she gives out her little gifts as she asks each person, and they love Babushka because she always brings the treats, right? And she gives each person their little gift each day, and she may never find the procession. Perhaps it is already long past, but she finds that she still goes out every year, and maybe that is enough, just as her little hut was enough. At this point, our worship will continue, and we'll send our children to class with our love.
don't know, inexplicably, that gets me really excited for what comes next. we should play Jeopardy one week.
Yeah.
So, well, it's good to have some time to greet each other. We each week take up an offering. And this year in particular, we've made the practice of divvying it up. We split the plate, share it 50-50, with a community organization we think is doing work that matters. And I have in mind, this month I don't need a big lead, I can say it's the Chicago Food Depository, which is an incredible network. It's an incredibly networked organization that coordinates pantries and deliveries and surplus food movement, and it's really doing incredible work to feed those who are food insecure, which on some accounts is 1 in 5 households in Chicago, which is radical. This month, our worship theme is presence. And one question I often have is, how can I be present in those who are far away from me in one way or another? This is a holiday season, so for many of us it's thinking about loved ones who are far away and we want them to feel our presence. This is another kind of thing. This is perhaps the stranger who is far away, so I can't hand them half my sandwich. How am I present in the lives of my neighbors who are not next to me? This is one way. It's at a distance we can make sure that people can eat. And you'll see sort of Chicago Food Depository stuff at work if you come to La Tiendita at 4. And it is an incredibly fun experience because everyone is food shopping. And particularly if you have Spanish, because you can converse about the differences in various grains. And last month it was a lot of discussion. We had crates and crates of dates, dried, dates. And most of the people there don't cook with dates. So that was the discourse with more than 100 people, how you can incorporate dates into your cooking, and it was a lot of fun. So I welcome you to that event, and I welcome you to give generously today, that everyone may eat in this season and in every season. Our offering will now be gratefully received. In the spiritual practice of vulnerability and openness, we make space to share with each other our joys as well as our sorrows, things we carry on our hearts, things that are filling our heads even while we're sitting listening to beautiful music. And so I open the floor, as I only occasionally do, that you may voice a joy or a sorrow or a request for prayer from this congregation. And as I walk the pews, this is a chance just to breathe and lift up who and you deserve some attention. What is occupying your mind and heart? And if you raise a finger, the right finger, I will stop for you.
We have a bit of a sorrow and kind of just want to keep a person in our prayers and thoughts. Robert's sister Andrea recently had brain surgery, and she's experiencing complications from it. So there's a lot of swelling. She's in ICU, and we just hope that she heals and has a full recovery.
Can you share her name?
Andrea.
Keeping Andrea in our prayers for healing. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, I got a double. The daily double. Jamie, you go first.
I was going to just remember Joan and Betty Sykes.
Moi aussi.
Two minds. Two minds.
I'm thinking of my friend Eve, whom I met as a fellow second alto back when we were both not so little kids in Chicago Children's Choir. She is battling both breast cancer and severe issues with her 20-year bout with Parkinson's. But she is now an inpatient at Northwestern and finally getting better care than she could give herself at home.
To good care. Barbara, did you have one?
I'd love to share joy, and that is yesterday I got to go to Milwaukee with a friend to enjoy Veronica Samiak in a wonderful concert. She's in the Milwaukee Symphony Chorus. The symphony played, she performed with the whole chorus. It was fabulous. And you know, we have these wonderful section leaders in our choir, and today I'd especially like to honor Veronica.
This is Ellie Hall. I have a joy for the GoFundMe for Hyde Park Produce. They had a fire, lost business. This GoFundMe is to help pay the salaries of those who were paid less during the time when they were out of business. This is for Hyde Park Produce.
Thank you. You had $25,000, I think. Maderia.
I just wanted to thank you for being here. I did not realize how much my sight was gone until I got here this morning and can't see faces from afar. But I want to thank this congregation so much for being here.
Amen. So that's an invitation to come up close and say your name when you come up. That's a good rule for church too, because we don't remember each other all that time. Okay, Natasha.
It's a small joy. Holden turned 6 on Tuesday, so woo-hoo.
For all the joys and sorrows, those we share aloud, those we keep in our hearts, those we can't yet even name ourselves. Let us make space for them, make space for each other, and to tend to the precious things. Amen. For our time of meditation, you may remain in a peaceful place. This is make space for joy. Clinging here, breathless, on the edge of breathtaking possibility. We need less than we have. We need less than we have. Jettison without delay. Make space for joy to flow, pool up, and spread out into a widening circle around us. Joy, trust me, joy will always find the open spaces. Like bears trusting in honey, we can simply rely on our nature. But we need to make a lot more room and discard all the extra pieces crowding us in for all too long. Make a plan right here today. Make a plan for less this month. Convert lofty aspirations into great expanses of time. Trade in all your essays for poems. turn your attention toward the spigot just about to open. Make new space for joy, my friends. And in the spirit of making space, we're going to take a minute and we're going to breathe, and I invite you into your own practice of prayer or meditation or snoring in church. May the silence we have shared continue to hold and to heal us.
Riuciula guarda ripera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra terra, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera, Riuciula guarda ripera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera.
Dios poderoso la supe defender, que sola hacer que no puede se pecar, ni un original esta virgen no tu vera.
Riuciula guarda ripera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera.
Este que es nacido es el gran monarca, Cristo patriarca de carne vestido, a nos redimido con se hace chiquito, ancora infinito, benito se hiciera.
Riuciula guarda ripera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera.
Muchas profecías lo han profetizado, y aún en nuestros días lo hemos alcanzado. A Dios humanado vemos en el suelo, y al hombre en el cielo, porque le quisiera.
Riuciula guarda ripera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera, Gioscorado è lobo de nostra codera.
I appreciate you bearing with me. On occasion, I feel like that's really far away. I have this experience of like going to some other place. I mean, not like a dissociative experience, but I mean an experience of going way over there when you're all over here. And I have to be honest, I am used to, in the 15 years I've been doing this, being very close to the congregation and moving toward the congregation, and I really wrestle with that. So today I'm going to say, and I'm really sorry, because I'm going to stand there and try this, just getting a little closer with the people. And we'll see if we like that or if it turns out to be annoying, there, you tell me after church, as you will. Okay. Now, I'm here to share with you a breakthrough technology I have developed. I have developed a sort of rapid, all-telling personality test, and it's one that you can take home with you. Here we're going to have to do it sort of, what do we say, in an imaginary way, but I think you'll get the point. You take out a piece of chewing gum. If you have chewing gum, you could actually take out the piece now, and you unwrap it and you put it in your mouth. Mark might be doing it. He's gonna get us clear. You go ahead and put it. You know how this works, and I want you to begin to chew in your mind. Do it, and I want you to take note of your emotional process. That initial bit of work, right? That surprise of flavor. Oh, the delight. Does anyone remember that striped zebra gum? That's like the stuff, man. You get that zebra gum and you chew, and then, okay, it's been a few seconds. Where are you now? That's why I'm not using real gum, because that's disgusting. After about 3 to 5 seconds, at least for me, I'm done. I've made it through that entire arc of masticatory delight, right? Maybe I'm good for 7 seconds, and then it's time to spit it out. Oh, good, there's another piece. You can take out another piece. That's the hang time for you football fans. That's the hang time of joy for zebra striped gum for me in my mouth. And it's not just a gum phenomenon, but it's okay. Gum's not that expensive. So if I want more joy, I can have more pieces. Has anyone ever finished a pack of gum like in an hour? Okay, so I worked for a company, and we bought a company that made gum. And we could go to the company store, and I won't name the company and I won't name the gum, but I'm telling you, you could buy it. It was like for a penny a piece. You buy a crate of 10,000 pieces of gum for like $6 or whatever. And I did that, and I put it on one side of my office. And I could sit there all day. I have as much gum as I want. I was like the king of gum. The lesson was this. It didn't make a difference, right? The joy was as fleeting. And the cycle of constantly taking out a new piece of gum, constantly spitting out a piece of gum, one, almost lost me my job. People were like, who is the guy? It's disgusting. Don't go in his office. But two, it teaches you something about the transience of joy. Or maybe it teaches us something about the transience of our affections. Now, we're all built a little bit differently, and one of the maladies of preaching is that you project all your own problems on other people, and then you declare them that it's the nature of human sin, and there you go. It's like, no, that's the nature of your sin. We all might be a little bit different. Some of us could coolly and calmly chew that gum for 3 hours without falling off that flavored cliff, that plunge of dissatisfaction. I suspect it's not too many of us, though. So I want to suggest in this opening and very silly way that it's not really about something in the gum, right? And the answer can't be more gum, different gum. That's it. Of course, that something else is in us. So here we're on, I think, the third Sunday of Advent. Picture the candle lighting here, right? That third Sunday, we're thinking about joy. We're thinking about joy. And so I'm inviting you into this contemplation in advance of the whooshing water slide that is the Christmas holiday in front of us. Where do you locate joy? How do you kindle it? How do you sustain it? And how do you share it with others? And are some of the practices of joy in your life due for renovation, due for renewal, due for addition? Depends on who you are. On the internet, you can take a ton of typological personality tests. I am deeply drawn into these. Which Simpsons character are you? Which color of the wheel are you? All the time. If you haven't done Belief-O-Matic, this is the king of all delightful tests, because as near as I can detect, it makes everyone a Unitarian. And I don't think it was designed by Unitarians. I just think there's more secret creeping liberalism, at least among my circles. Like, so all my Methodist friends, I go into seminary with people from all different traditions. My Catholic friends, they all take it and they say, you're a Unitarian. Well, because they're all progressive and imaginative and all those sorts of things. But belief-o-matic, it's very comforting. And it's always comforting. They tell me I'm at least 20% Quaker, so I know I have a fallback should this go awry. I encourage you to that. But the most powerful one, I actually really do value the Enneagram, which is a personality typology that is a little bit deeper. So I shouldn't be so flippant as to say the belief-o-matic, because you can actually do some meaningful work with the Enneagram. And I encourage you to that, because it's kind of fun to work with it. And I'll just say, before you ever ask, I'm a 7. And now some of you know what a 7 is. A 7 is kind of the enthusiast. This is why I suggest that this gum problem might be my problem, more so than many other people. As the great book says, sevens look at the world wide-eyed with rapt anticipation of all the good things they are about to experience. Enthusiastic about almost everything, as long as it's new. As long as it's in that arc, when the ball is still in the air, the gum still has flavor, the discovery is still alive. My appetite for the new and my driving desire for ever greater. Ever greater what? Ever greater everything. For me, means this test is awfully valid. The rapidly disappearing taste for the old is the other thing. So as I say, I'm being vulnerable today because I'm telling you something about me. But let me universalize it a little bit. You may not have the acute condition of the disease I just described, but the transience of joy is not just me. The way things wear out, they're welcome. The way we hunger avariciously, the way we desire for the more, for the different, the way we're drawn away from the present and our presence in it, right? That monthly worship theme of presence in some ways means that we can stand still long enough to sink down in to the beauty which surrounds us. It's not even possible to understand the beauty of the music. For instance, we heard today in the 3 minutes we had, right? So we should do that same music next week. Oh no, there are other plans. I'll get in trouble with that. But that's why I say don't be afraid to play the music again. I had 3 pieces today. I want to hear again because I want to dwell and be present in that music that I may come to know its manifold beauty differently and more deeply. That's a challenge. It's not the existential transience of the delight of gum that's a significant problem in our life. That's a joke, right? It's not even as we creep up on Christmas and we have excused the under 10 crowd from the room, it's not easy even that our passion disappears for a new plastic toy the day after we get home and unpack it. It's that feeling in more important places in our lives, in our jobs, in our primary relationships, in the way we choose to use the hours we're given every day, but more importantly, this day, is that we're drawn to move too quickly to the next thing that it may spark greater joy. When standing still and making space is what we really need to do. Make space for joy. How do you extend an invitation for joy to come into your life? An invitation is not high-speed pursuit. And we are conditioned, I believe, in so many places to believe that it is the rabbit at the greyhound track that we are chasing, and that is joy. And if we could only go faster, 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 and some of us are darn fast already. I know you. You are some of the fastest people I know, in a figurative sense, in the world. The most capable, the most brilliant, the most dedicated, able to go after that which will be fulfilling, redeeming, enlightening, uplifting, and make it all worthwhile. Faster, faster, faster. So, in this season and this day when we're talking about welcoming joy into our lives, let us not welcome joy with rapid pursuit and the purchase of more and more presents, getting more and more things in the mail, sending 5 more Christmas cards. That's not what I'm encouraging you to do today. On this day, and the invitation of Advent is to prepare a different kind of expectation for yourself, to invite in a different kind of sustaining joy, to be able to find the locus of your joy in places that are more enduring, for they are there. They are there. It was written in the old text, build your house upon rock, not upon sand. Okay, what does that mean? Something about faith. Have faith in the enduring things, the things that do not fluctuate. Do not put your faith in political candidates. Do not. They'll break your heart. Do not put your faith in new Maseratis. They'll go to the shop. Do not put your faith in the weather. It will change. Put your faith in that which is enduring. And maybe unlike other churches, I'm not here to thump the pulpit and tell you the one thing that endures. I'm here to tell you that your work, our work, is to find the things that endure and plant our feet solidly on them and take a deep breath. And take your stand there. Take your stand there. Separate, in the words of one of our famous preachers, the transient and the permanent. What's permanent in your life? Build our house upon rock and not sand. So let's move from that F word to the L word, right? From faith to love. Love the things that are enduring, not the things that turn to dust. What things endure in your life? What things have been with you since you were 6 years old? Can you remember turning 6? That is one of the best birthdays, because you might just remember that one with some clarity. And what are the things today, go back, what did you get for your 6th birthday? I don't know. I really don't. It's all gone, I can tell you that. What are the things that you loved when you were 6 that you still love today? And would you have known that at the time? What was it about family? What was it about yourself and your own passion, your own sparkle that was worth loving and nurturing and holding on to and keeping alive? And so part of making space for joy, and it's not just space, extending an invitation for joy, a heartful invitation. Come in, there's eggnog, right? Part of that is focusing on what matters in our life. What is worthy to worship in a great cathedral? Why come to a cathedral to lift up worthy things? Walk out of this place in your heart and in your mind with one worthy thing and let 3 other things go. There's too much on our cart. I know it. Again, I know you all. There's a lot on your carts. You can push half of it off, maybe 90%, and have some freedom to feel some joy. I also invite you in this season to, when you make space for joy, to not be joyful. Who said we have to feel joyful and happy all the time? What kind of tyranny of the Christmas season is it that we ought to force joy? For there's one thing joy will not tolerate, and that's coercion. So make space. If these are sad days, if this is the first holiday you're celebrating without someone you love, a love that's one of those bedrock attachments I'm talking about, let there be space for absence. With every presence we celebrate, we recognize a shadow of absence. And we put our arm around that too. Who said life was going to be continuous joy? Push that off the cart too. This imagination that it's going to be beautiful, perfect, joyful, glorious, in tune. 12 people at the table, a turkey the size of your head. I don't know. Are those joyful things? Are they necessary things? Are there requisites for joy that we can push off the cart today too? Because that's my liberatory message for this season. The anticipation of what happens on Christmas Eve. The anticipation is meant to be, in our tradition, an anticipation of a transformative moment of the joyful things, not receiving the things. It was not the gold and frankincense and myrrh, although I'll do those justice at that time. Nobody was hoping for those things. Really. None of you are hoping for it now. No one wanted them then. That's not what the people were hoping for. They were hoping for a star to rise, for a life in which we have more peace with our neighbors, a life where no one is being hurt and oppressed, a life where we have a place to stay and we have people around us who care, and most of all, that we have some potency of heart and spirit that we can care for other people. For the greatest joys in life are not the having but the doing. Not the having but the doing. Not the being but the being in motion. And so, my friends, this making space is a practice of action. It's a practice of peace, and it's a practice of co-creation. I'm so excited for the season ahead of us, for we get to spend it together, and for we get to anticipate a transformation of how we shall be ever new in the new year, in the new life ahead. May it be so, and amen.
Our closing hymn today is going to be number 100 in the gray hymnal. I've got Peace Like a River. Number 100 in the gray hymnal. We'll be singing verses 1 through 3. Please rise in body or spirit. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river, I've got peace like a river in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain, I've got joy like a fountain in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul. I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean, I've got love like an ocean in my soul.
You can reach out and take a hand if you feel moved and the person next to you seems amenable. Rub a shoulder. As you go from this place, in this season of hope and joy, may you be blessed and may you know it. May you recognize the blessing upon you and the blessing surrounding you, and may you realize all at once that you're at the heart of it. I give thanks for you and for all that we share together. Go in peace, my friends. Amen.
I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in my soul. I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain, I've got strength like a mountain in